All right, here is Tuesday, November 8th. I'm not going to show you a replay. I'm just going to show you the the levels. So how you need to approach this day. Remember, here I'll walk you through the day and as we approach it. So we opened up down here. I think pre-market lows was around here. So what do? You're not near a level. So you just got to be careful because you could have some whiplash. They could end up coming back down. So what ended up happening the first 5 minutes is you could see that it came all the way back up, and it actually retested the previous day close. So you're at a level. So what do? You short it. You just don't think anything about it. You have a stop and you get stopped out. Great, then you move on and reassess. But I mean, look. How pretty accurate this was. And then from there, it had 5, 10 minutes later, by the end of the first 15 minutes, you almost made that full level-to-level play. Came back up, bounced up to VWAP, then came back down and came down to the level. So usually you want to be selling as close as you can to the level, because right here you would have gave back like 30 points when you were only had like 5 more points to gain, 5 or 10 more points. So you're not going to get necessarily the whole move, but if you can get the majority. So that's play one. Then you look for the second play. So here you see that we're coming back down to a level. Well, what do? You go long. You go long until proven otherwise. So if you went long right here and had a stop below here, you never got stopped out. If you got stopped out, then oh well, then again, reassess. So what do? You just hold until you get to the next level or as close. So you can see that within 10 minutes later, came back up and did another almost 50-point move right here. And then for about 30 minutes, it consolidated. If you didn't take profit as you got close to this pivot, you would have gave 30 points back, because you see how this wick came all the way down, and then what they ended up doing is like scooping it back up. They scooped it back up because this was that close right here of the previous candle. So when you see this wick and this 5-minute close right here, and then now you see that it's consolidating. It's consolidating. So the rest of that 30 minutes, they just consolidated above VWAP and they held it. So you got to start thinking, this is 30 minutes, this is an hour. So that first hour, so the rule is where are you at critical points of time. So I look at 9:30 as a critical point, 10:30 as a critical point, and 12 and 12:30 as critical points. 30-minute candles are great, but that 9:30 is really critical. If we would have been below this, then I would have been short bias. But basically, you want to be going long down here. So what ended up happening right at 9:30 is you're right in the middle between these pivots. So you can neither go long nor short, because look what ended up happening. I'm not going to show you this 5-minute candle like on a 1 minute, but you see this wick. It actually came all the way back down here within that first like minute or two, and then they scooped it back up. So this is what they call a sweep. See how it basically just came down, it stopped everybody out, and then they bought it all back up. And that is when that 9:30, they ended up pushing it. And they pushed it, and this was 5-10. Within 10 minutes, they went from 970 all the way up to 1650. So that would have been 70, 80 point move in 10 minutes. Real fast. So really what you want to do is you want to be getting in long, and you could have sold back in here, anticipating that they chop around, but the moment that they actually closed above, you should just be moving your stop. And when you saw this fast push, you want to be selling, because really this right here, you see how this was a critical area, because you can see 1, 2, 3 times that it was bouncing off. And look what it ended up doing, bouncing off here, and then rejected hard. And they came all the way back down to VWAP pretty quick. So you would have lost a big chunk of your profits if you didn't take profits. So don't get greedy. You get like 80 points, 50 points, you get in and then you reassess. So it's hard to predict with this that this would have rejected right here. So what you do is you're wanting to now that you know that we're going up, you want to be scooping things up. So when this came all the way back down, you could have waited, down to VWAP. Or right here, I actually got in right here, anticipating this is the pullback, and then we go back up. What did they end up doing? They ended up stopping me out. Okay, no big deal. You just wait until that 5-minute, 10-minute period is over, and then it would have showed you that, look, they came down and then they scooped it back up. When you see a shooting star right here, this tells you that, and it goes back above a level, then look at that. Then you know that this is probably pretty strong, and then it wants to complete. And we're only in the morning session. This is only 10 o'clock. So whenever you've heard in past videos where I talk about, are you making new highs at 10:30? Really what it comes down is where are you at in reference to the pivots at 10:30. So right here, you could see that they were consolidating 5, 10, and look, they dropped it back below down to VWAP, and then they scooped it back up. So if you would have got in here to go long, if you didn't have a wide enough stop, you would have got stopped out, and then they bought it back up. So you can see that's twice that they've tried to scoop it back up. So here you want to start really looking for that long and just having patience. And so it wasn't until right at 10:30 when we came back up to the highs. Now one would say I actually got short right here thinking that this would be possibly a double top, but you just have to trust the pivots that it wants to get to the next level. And sure enough, right at the start of that 10:30, it busted through the high and it came right to that pivot. And now this is where it gets tricky, because you never know what will end up happening. You don't want to necessarily short immediately, because now we're at 10:35 and you're getting close to now you're starting getting into the lunch period. So the odds are, because we weren't above here at 10:30. If we were above here at 10:30, we weren't. We were above here at 10:35. The likelihood is they would have done one of two things. They would have came and retested this area, which is a high of yesterday, and then possibly fail. But you just want to be really careful around here. So, but the moment that I saw this wick come down, and especially this wick right here, and this was getting toward the end of that 30-minute period, you see that this 30 minutes could not close back above here. So what do? You don't think about it. You just go for the short. And your risk would be a little bit above here, or really you need a risk to above here. And if you would have held from here to here, that would have been a 50-point play. So you had 50 points here, 50 points here, 50 points here, and then the fact that by 12 o'clock we weren't 12 o'clock we were holding. So one would say you should go long, which I did. I went long right here, anticipating the afternoon us coming back up here. What it ended up doing right at 12, they just yanked it. I got stopped out, but what I ended up doing was I ended up waiting until it came back to the pivot. When it came to this pivot right here at 12:05, I got in and I was able to scoop. This was 8, around 16:10 down to 70. So this was about a 40-point move right here. And why did I target down here? It's because this area right here was of concern. Anytime you get these quick moves, you want to be selling in down here. You don't try to be exact, because look, what ended up happening was this was a lower high. They ended up scooping it back up, and then at 12:30 they ended it right here. Then they consolidated it, broke it back above, and then now you're into your afternoon session. So this was the morning session. Afternoon can be tricky. This was boring. You had almost like 2 hours of just like this slow grind action. And here's the thing, this area right here was the previous week's close. So if you notice here to the left, the morning session, you're making lower highs. Say last week you were here, Monday you were here, Monday, Tuesday here, came back down, came back up here, couldn't close, came back down. So afternoon, It should have done one of two things. It should have kept on going down, or it was going to squeeze to go up. What they ended up doing is squeezing to go up, because you can see it was making a lower high intraday, and then when it actually cleared the 12 o'clock high, here's the 12 o'clock, then that's when it just started squeezing, and this way you would have had the last 15 minutes of the day, which usually that's when it happens. They ended up coming almost close to this pivot. But if you notice, what is this considered? You could easily identify what the day was going to bring based upon the pivots. It's a box play. Just like the previous day, we were boxed in. It was down at the bear pivot to the bull pivot, fake breakout, and then now your target is down here. The likelihood in the afternoon of it coming back down is really rare. So this just says that we have decided that we were probably not going to go any higher than here. If we were trapped in between in the afternoon, then you're probably in your range for the afternoon. So just be super careful about trying to be too biased, thinking that, oh, drop, 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 it's going to keep going. The only time that'll happen is if you have some kind of news. So this is hard. This is hard, but that's why, I mean, I gave back a lot this afternoon today because of this crap right here. You know, you get in short right here thinking it's going to break down. What do they do? It squeeze you up, and then what did you end up doing? You go long right here, and then they stop you out. You know, it's when you recognize this right here, you're in the center of this. This is no man's land, really. You should have got in here to go long, or here to go short, or here to go long, and then that's it. You know, and it might take an hour and a half for the play to come to fruition, but you only really want to be entering in at critical areas, because if not, at anything other than that, you're just you're introducing a lot of risk, and that proved this afternoon. If I just walked away after this morning action going up and then coming down, that's 150 points right there. One contract would have netted you quite a bit. So, anyways, that is the review today. I recommend always going back and looking and doing your own assessment for your day. But I wanted to give you an insight of what I look for when it comes throughout the day. This is all hindsight, because you see all these wicks. Like, one would have thought of it came back down, you go short, you know. But you need to realize that your timing, in that you're one time framing up. You see how these 30-minute candles are closing green? This is closing green, closing green. You know, all they're doing is they're coming back half of that candle. A lot of times they call it halfbacks, where it comes back half of that previous candle, and then they scoop it up, and then they usually go and continue. So anyways, good luck for the rest of the week, and we will see you in the next video.